to the 30s. You know what that gave?
What?
Welcome to the ant farm.
Oh, my word.
What? How would you say my word? I've literally never brought up ant farm. Today, we are in 1939.
Why 39? That means all of
That's
the
when
30s
Wizard
is
of Oz
over.
came out. That's when Wizard of Oz came out.
Oh. We're in the 30s.
We are in the 1930s. Now, if you literally can't already tell, I'm the Scarecrow, and who's that?
Dorothy.
Show your ruby slippers. Make them glitter. So, I'm just gonna get right to my dumb idea because I can't stop thinking about it. My finger. So, at my kitchen table, the cushion is not attached to the seat. But it should be. But it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So I grabbed the chair to try to scoot closer. And you know, whenever you scoot closer, you like kind of do a little jump thing. So I jumped up while holding the seat. And when I sat back down, my finger was underneath the seat. And I jumped pretty, much. Heavy, you know? And it was immediate bruising. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It still hurts. Still hurts so bad. Oh my goodness. It feels like when you when you burn yourself and then the burn feeling doesn't go away even after it's done being burnt. That's what it's like. It just keeps randomly hurting again.
Yeah.
Okay, you go.
Well, I have to think.
I also kind of can't really let it go underneath, below my heart. Otherwise, blood will rush to it and it'll hurt more. So I'll just be sitting like I have an idea the whole time.
Oh my gosh, Carly would kill me, but I want to use her dumb idea.
What?
You know what?
Don't.
She already told everyone that matters. I'll say that and then, also have another one maybe. So Carly was house sitting for a few days, and Anna was helping her, and I came over the first night, and I was staying with them, and we were playing Truth or Dare in the living room of this house, and one of Carly's dares was to get her socks wet and leave them on, just wet, sitting on her feet for the rest of the game. And so she did it, and we were but don't get them because they had rugs everywhere. We were just try not to get them on the rugs or the something so we don't ruin anything. And so she kept them on the couch, but what we didn't know was because the couch is a leather couch, and we didn't know you couldn't get leather wet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sure it's just a common thing, don't get it wet, but
Also, we had no way of knowing that the couch was real leather either.
yeah. Well, actually, I will, because it's about you. Whenever she was debating on taking the dare or not, you were you can just keep them on the couch because you can get leather wet.
Because I thought it was fake leather. I thought it was not real leather.
No, you said because you can get leather wet.
Yeah.
You didn't say you can get fake leather wet.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about real leather. I was thinking about...
and I was is this real leather? And you were yeah, and it's durable.
No. I didn't say that. I meant, because
Sure.
it's not a cloth couch, you know?
Yeah.
Because don't get the
I'm not
cloth
saying
couch wet.
you're
I know. But I just,
to fault.
in
I'm
my
just,
mind,
'cause all of us went with it.
I wasn't even thinking about the fact that it was real at all. I didn't even consider that it would be real.
Well, I was thinking if it's real, then maybe you can get it wet because leather is I don't know, supposed to be
Skin?
durable. But I guess that doesn't mean it's stain proof.
Because it's
Durable just
dry out.
means-
It's dried out.
Yeah, but anyways. So she had her feet on the couch, and then when she lifted them up, there was the most undeniable, darkest you could ever think of feet outlines just sitting right in the center
Her
of
toes,
the
too. Toe
couch.
outlines.
Yeah. The entire outline of the foot was just on the couch. And it's still kind of there to this day. And that was Wednesday. So
Don't worry, we told the owners of the home.
yeah, we told the owners. They were like, don't worry about it. We have some stuff that could help. So hopefully they've fixed it or fixing it right now.
Yeah, we definitely felt
But Carly
really bad.
was stressed out for like
Reasonably
24 hours. That's a good dumb idea if it was mine.
Very much.
Now let me think if I have one. I just don't understand how I can go a whole week without doing something embarrassing or something not smart or something that's like, oh, why would I even think of that? It's like I shouldn't even be a co-host on this.
No, we gotta balance it out. Otherwise, if it was literally just me, imagine.
Like there has to be something. My dumb idea of the week is not cleaning the basement.
Because every time you're like, I need to clean up.
Yeah, literally every week we're down here, I'm like, I'm going to clean the basement. And then I don't. Anyways, yeah, I need to clean down here because it's trashed. What are some like random things you know about the 30s already? Well, the things that I know about the 30s. I know that the Great Depression was in the 30s.
You know what? All the knowledge I know about the Great Depression
What?
is from watching the movie It's a Wonderful Life, which has barely any knowledge about that. They all rushed to the banks. That's it. That's all I know. And they had no money. Because everybody wanted their money.
That's what that scene was?
Yes. Because everybody wanted to go get their money. And the bank doesn't just hold all their money there. So he was giving it to them, like, out of his pocket, I think. Because, like, they would have to, like, wait to get their money. And they're like, we don't want to wait because we'll lose it all. Or whatever. I don't know. It's been
That
a while
scene
since
wa-
I've seen that movie.
Yeah, I know. I haven't seen that movie in, like, all the way through in years.
Last time I saw it was when the studio put it on.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, I guess the Dust Bowl was in the 30s.
Yes, I learned that whenever I was doing my research
What an
for my thing.
Awful time to be alive, I guess.
Yeah, the 30s.
Never want to be.
There was a lot
The
of
30s
things.
are coming.
No.
Yeah.
My finger, it's like tingling like a lot.
You did that today?
Yes, before I got here, like 30 minutes ago.
Wow. It looks bubbly.
That's just what my finger looks like.
Oh, your fingers just are really round. And, like, they look like bubbles.
Yeah, but look at that. That's a bruise.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally instantly, a bruise.
Yeah.
Like I pulled it out, and there was a bruise on there.
That means your things were, like, popped in.
Blood vessels?
Yeah, your blood vessels popped instantaneously.
Can I put them back?
They're trying. Well, not the same ones. You can't put the
Oh.
same ones back, I don't think. Also what happened in the 30s was Bonnie and Clyde.
I know. You're saying all the things that I know.
Yeah, I want to talk about Bonnie and Clyde.
Go ahead.
I love Bonnie and Clyde, the story. I think it's
yeah,
so, like,
not you liking criminals. Just kidding, I do.
all your favorite characters that you simp over are all the bad guys. Always.
Don't tell people that.
I don't even know where to begin, honestly, because
What I know, okay, I used to think that they were like train robbers. Like they would steal trains.
interesting.
But I don't think that happened. They robbed banks
Yeah, they never
and
did
broke out
anything
of jail.
with trains, I don't think.
Yeah, I just thought that.
The timeline of Bonnie and Clyde, like, when things happened, is, like, I always, like, forget until I, like, watch another documentary or read about it again.
I love they have like pictures that they took. That is so like cute to me. Like they took the pictures and then they ran away and then they had like and then people have their pictures now.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
that's really fun.
Do you know the story of how they got the pictures?
No, it's probably really sad. Oh, okay.
Not really.
Thought you were gonna be like,
Well, I guess it is, because there was death involved, but not
No, there's-
sad in the way you're thinking of sad for them.
okay. Go
Because
ahead.
they won. It happened in Joplin.
We should go. We should visit
Yeah,
on our
I
little
know.
weekend trip to Bonnie
Yeah.
and Clyde area.
Oh, yeah, on their Bonnie. Well, I want to do a Bonnie and Clyde trail.
Well, let's do that. I didn't know that was a thing.
It's not.
Oh, well, let's
I
make
already
that.
told you I wanted to do that.
Okay.
For
Probably.
Get full Francis. Anyways, so it happened in Missouri. In Joplin, Missouri. They
Okay.
had this little, they were in this little, they called it an apartment, but it's literally just a house.
Who called it an apartment?
Every documentary.
Maybe it was multiple house. Maybe somebody owned it and
No.
they were renting off rooms.
Well, they had the whole house,
Oh.
and it
Well,
was
they were
just
rich.
a teensy little house.
Oh. Well, they had this house.
And they were like there for like I don't actually know how long. I think a while.
'Kay.
All their stuff was like obviously in there and
Mhm.
stuff. And 2 cops arrived at the place, not there for them. They were
Mhm.
just there on like a wellness check, something like that. Like they were there for some other reason. I don't really actually know the exact reason, but it was like just like a similar to wellness check.
Okay.
So they had no precautions because they didn't know Bonnie and Clyde were in that house.
Right.
But they pulled up, and I'm just gonna tell the gist because I don't actually remember everything, so I could be wrong with some things. But then the garage door like started going up, and like the police were like, "Who's in there?" And then I don't remember who, probably Clyde, started just like open firing on them.
Oh.
The police, so it was like a whole like shootout with like the police and Bonnie and Clyde, and they had Clyde's brother and his fiance or wife, I don't know at the time, with them, and that was the Clyde. I don't ever know if it's Barrow or Barrow. Pretty sure it's Barrow gang is what they called them.
Okay. The 4 of them?
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
So them 4 were in the house,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they said that like Clyde was open firing from the garage, but there was also firing from one of the upstairs windows. So they think that was Bonnie. So one or both of the policemen died, like on site,
Oh.
and they all the Barrow gang got away, but they obviously like left everything in the house
Mm.
because they didn't like have time to pick it all up.
Yeah. That's why you gotta
so-
keep your room clean.
Yeah. But then they did like a search, and they were like, so that was crazy. Bonnie and Clyde was in there. And then they found all these guns they had, and they had all these pictures and the food they had, and everything was in this house. And so then, like, whenever they posted the pictures, the very, very famous pictures they
Mhm.
have of them, that's when Bonnie and Clyde started getting famous.
That's so cool.
Because with other criminals of the time, no one had photos of them. Like,
Mhm.
no one would just take photos, like, when they're doing crimes.
Yeah. I want.
Also, the photos of, like, Bonnie were just, like, that's how, like, she was, like, her photo was, like, the biggest one of all because, like, she was, like, had one leg, like, on the car, like, and then she had, like, a cigar and, like, holding a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, everyone was like, whoa, because she's, like, a woman.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
it, like, blew up because, like, that's unheard of. That's crazy that she was, like, in that stance holding a gun and a cigar.
Wow.
So yeah, then Bonnie and Clyde became romanticized by the whole entire country because of that house story.
That's
Because
so
they had
cool.
to leave all their photos.
That's so cool. I don't know much about Bonnie and Clyde, but I do know that, what you just told me, and that they didn't rob trains, and that they were like a love story, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so cute.
Yeah. I think they were awful people, but their story and like their dynamic is just so iconic.
It's history.
You can't
Yeah. But it's not like they were like
get past it.
serial killers.
Well, they
On
weren't
purpose.
serial killers, but they murdered on purpose.
Oh.
So they were robbers. They were thieves more than they were murderers, but they did murder a few
get away.
people.
Okay, I don't condone that. But like you said before, villains are definitely my type.
Yeah.
So
I love the,
aesthetic.
like I said, the story and aesthetic of Bonnie and Clyde. Obviously, like them, like they're awful people because of the things they did, which is so unfortunate. But they went down in history. That's
Yes.
pretty cool.
Like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I'm sorry.
That's so crazy. I have another cool story about Bonnie and Clyde that has to do with me in a way.
You were there?
I wasn't there, but it has to do with my lineage. Wait, is lineage?
Family tree.
Okay, yeah. Pretty sure I told you the story.
What? This sounds like jogging memories.
Yeah. So, one time during Bonnie and Clyde's time, I don't remember. I think it was my grandpa's father's mother or my grandpa's father's aunt.
Okay.
One of those. They were in the mountains of Arkansas,
Okay.
because that's where they lived. And Bonnie and Clyde like went through there, and they were trying to steal their car.
No way.
Yeah.
You're lying.
No, I'm not lying.
No way.
No, I'm not lying. They were trying to steal their car, and the lady, the aunt or the mother,
Yeah.
like came out and was like trying to stop them. Once again, like not knowing it's Bonnie and Clyde. And Clyde pistol whipped her,
What does that mean?
like using the pistol and like hitting them
Oh, you just get hit with a gun.
with a pistol, because it's called a pistol whip.
Okay.
Beat, you know.
Oh, shoot.
I don't know if she got beat, but like he pistol whipped her. But then I don't actually know if they got the car or not. I
No,
guess
that's
I never got
crazy.
that farther in the story. Because I could only think of like, whoa, Bonnie and Clyde had a run-in with my not even that long ago ancestor.
Yeah, what?
Yeah,
You definitely never told me that before.
I have for sure.
No.
'Cause
That's
I
so
would've
cool.
never went on without telling anyone ever. Yeah, I haven't heard that story in like a minute. I'll have to ask my grandpa again. Like the details.
Imagine you just walk outside and Bonnie and Clyde are there trying to take your car. I'd give it to them.
Oh my gosh.
No, I wouldn't. No, not really. But actually, yeah, I would, because I would be too scared to do anything. I'd be like, they're going to kill me.
Yeah. I mean, I'd let them have it. I wouldn't give it to them.
No, yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, that's a fun little story I have of Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, what? That's crazy. Okay, well, let's get into our trivia then.
I'm not even done talking about them. I can go for hours.
No, but you
Let's
have to,
see.
because that's... No, that's not the topic of the video. You have to change.
You know what's so cool?
What?
Bonnie's poem that... And you know what's so sad? Well, I don't know. Do they...
What?
No, it's still sad. They were like, in love, obviously. And I'm pretty sure they like wanted to like, of course, like be buried together, but Bonnie's mother literally like forbade them to be buried next to each other, and they're buried like miles, maybe even like different like cities.
Why?
Miles apart, because she was like, he had her his whole life, he doesn't get her anymore.
Wow.
But Bonnie's poem that like went famous that I don't remember, that's cool.
Yeah.
And the only part of that poem I remember is the end line, which is actually I don't. Well, it's something like so it's death for Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh.
Let me read it.
Oh no, not the Declaration of Independence again. You're always reading stuff on here.
Someone has to.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. This is way longer than I thought.
Yeah, but it's broken up really weird.
So this is Bonnie Parker's poem called The Ballad of Bonnie and Clyde. We, each of us, have a good alibi for being down here in the joint, but few of them are really justified. If you get right down to the point, you have heard of a woman's glory being spent on a downright cur. Still, you can't always judge the story as true being told by her. As long as I stayed on the island and heard confidence tales from the gals, there was only one interesting and truthful. It was the story of Suicide Sal. Now Sal was a girl of rare beauty, though her features were somewhat tough. She never once faltered from duty to play on the up and up. Sal told me this tale on the evening before she was turned out free, and I'll do my best to relate it, just as she told me. Oh. I was born on a ranch in Wyoming, not treated like Helen of Troy, was taught that rods were rulers, and ranked the greasy cowboys. You've read the story of Jesse James, of how he lived and died. If you're still in need of something to read, here's the story of Bonnie and Clyde. Now, Bonnie and Clyde are the Barrow Gang. I'm sure you all have read how they rob and steal, and those who squeal are usually found dying or dead. There's lots of untruths to these write-ups. They're not so ruthless as that. Their nature is raw, they hate all law. Stool pigeons, spotters, and rats. They call them cold-blooded killers. They say they are heartless and mean. But I say this with pride, I once knew Clyde, when he was honest and upright and clean. But the laws fooled around, and taking him down, and locked him up in a cell, till he said to me, I'll never be free, so I'll meet a few of them in hell. The road was so dimly lighted, there were no highway signs to guide. But they made up their minds, if all roads were blind, they wouldn't give up till they died. The road gets dimmer and dimmer, sometimes you can hardly see, but it's fight man to man and do all you can, for they know they can never be free. From heartbreak, some people have suffered, from weariness, some people have died. But all in all, our troubles are small, till we get like Bonnie and Clyde. If a policeman is killed in Dallas, and they have no clue or guide, if they can't find a fiend, just wipe the slate clean and hang it on Bonnie and Clyde. There's 2 crimes committed in America, not accreted to the Barrow mob. They had no hand in the kidnap demand, nor the Kansas City depot job. A newsboy once said to his buddy, I wish old Clyde would get jumped in these hard times. We's get a few dimes if 5 or 6 cops would get bumped. The police haven't got the report yet, but Clyde called me up today. He said, "Don't start any fights. We aren't working nights. We're joining the NRA." I don't know what the NRA is.
Me neither.
From Irving to West Dallas Viaduct. Is that it, you think?
Don't know.
From Irving to West Dallas, Viaduct is known as the Great Divide, where the women are kin and men are men, and they won't stool on Bonnie and Clyde. If they try to act like citizens and rent a nice flat, about the third night they're invited to fight by a sub-guns rat-tat-tat. They don't think they're tough or desperate. They know the law always wins. They've been shot at before, but they do not ignore the death is the wages of sin. Someday they'll go down together, and they'll bury them side by side. To few it'll be grief, to the law a relief, but it's death for Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh. Wait. I don't think.
Hey, that's my line.
Okay, you can say that.
Scarecrow, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Okay.
Now it is time for 30s trivia.
1930s.
Let's see how much we know about the 30s.
In what year did the first severe dust storm begin stripping away the topsoil in the U.S. Midwest? That was such a dramatic and scary way of putting that.
I'm gonna say.
Stripping away the topsoil.
Is that the Dust Bowl? Like the
Yeah.
beginning? Like 35.
I'm going to say 31. 33. I was literally thinking 33.
Dang it. It was like right in the middle. Okay.
Question 2. In what year did the Star-Spangled Banner become the USA's national anthem? 1936. Just felt right.
37.
1931!
What?
Oh my gosh. Question 3. In what year were seeing eye dogs first used?
34.
I'm going to say 32. 38.
I was closer. We haven't gotten a single one right yet.
In 1934, FBI men ambushed and fired on which 2 bank robbers, eventually killing them?
I wonder which that is. I think probably Bonnie and Clyde.
Well, does it say eventually killing them, meaning
Yeah, I'm going to say Bonnie and Clyde.
the robbers, or eventually killing them, meaning the men? Because this says FBI men, so I don't think it's the cops that Bonnie and Clyde ran into.
I'm still going to say
But
Bonnie
I don't
and
know
Clyde.
any
so.
other bank robbers.
Yeah.
Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow.
Wow. I'm a genius.
Ooh, fun. In what year did Action Comics release the first issue of Superman?
Ooh.
1936.
I was going to say that. Well, we can still say the same thing.
38! I'm so mad.
I don't know anything about Superman.
In 1932, what famous gangster was convicted for income tax evasion?
Jesse.
I'm going
James.
to say Snake Eyes.
Did you make that up?
Well, I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
Al Capone.
Al Capone.
I don't know.
Al Capone.
Oh, no way.
What?
No way, you're lying.
I'm not. Whoa.
I know, I'm just so smart.
That was crazy. In what year did Amelia Earhart mysteriously disappear over the Pacific Ocean during a circumvig...
34. 36.
circumnavigation flight?
36.
That feels right. I'm going to say 38.
Oh my gosh, both of those feel right. Okay.
37. I knew after I said 38, I was like, I bet it's like 37. Okay, we'll do one more. In 1934, Donald Duck appeared for the first time in what? I know.
DuckTales. I don't know.
Well, I'm scared I'm not going to know, but I'm pretty positive it would be Steamboat Willie.
Okay.
Because that was his first appearance.
I think that's what it's trying to say.
I know, that's why I'm telling you where my brain went.
Oh, okay.
The Wise Little Hen?
What is that?
That's not true.
Reread the question.
In 1934, Donald Duck appeared for the first time in what?
Maybe 1934 was his first appearance in The Little Hen. What was it?
Well, maybe Steamboat Willie was just Mickey's first appearance.
I'm pretty sure that. Donald wasn't even in that, probably.
He was.
I've never seen
Because
Steamboat
Donald,
Willie.
Minnie, Mickey, and Pete were in that.
Maybe Donald was in that little weird hen. But he wasn't like but he wasn't like Donald Duck yet. Maybe he just looked like that, and they just took his look.
Mm-hmm. Also, I thought that I didn't always think this, but like, why is Steamboat Willie like the first Disney animated feature film if there were things before that?
Like, not movies though.
Shorts?
Yeah.
I didn't think shorts even existed back then.
Yeah, only shorts basically.
Yeah, I guess like
Like a feature film. Like that is like
I don't think
an hour.
Steamboat Willie is that long.
I don't think it's a feature film.
Yes, because that was his. No,
I think-
Snow White was his first
Yeah.
feature film.
That was probably just Mickey Mouse's first
But
thing.
I really
First
thought
appearance.
that
Just search
Steamboat
what
Willie
is
was-
Steamboat Willie famous for?
what was the first Walt Disney?
This is definitely Snow White because that's part of my research today, actually.
Steamboat Willie was the third of Mickey's films to be produced, but it was the first to be distributed because Disney, having seen The Jazz Singer, had committed himself to produce one of the first fully synchronized sound cartoons.
Okay.
So it was the first one shown?
Yeah. But it wasn't the first one made. They were just like, let's show this one first.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right, moving on.
Okay, I'm gonna pick a character. Okay, character picked.
Okay. Is this character female?
No.
Is this character male?
Yes.
Is this character real?
No. What do you mean?
Like a real life?
Like human?
No. Like a real like, is it fiction or is it real?
Okay, no.
So
Fictional.
a fictional male character, Mickey Mouse.
No.
Is it human?
Yes.
Fictional male character. Disney?
No.
Animated?
Yes.
Shrek. Oh wait,
No.
he's not human.
I feel like it's a little early to be naming like actual
Is it
people.
from Scooby-Doo?
Shoulda. It's not.
Is it from a movie
When
or TV
Scooby-Doo
show?
invented?
70s?
Oh yeah.
Maybe the
duh, I already knew
60s.
that. I already knew that. Okay, TV show.
TV show with a male human character.
Yeah.
Timmy Turner?
No.
Jimmy Neutron?
That's who I thought you were talking about a second ago. I know who Timmy Turner is, but Jimmy Neutron is the first thing that came to my mind when you said that. Also, no.
Aang?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. My turn.
Okay.
Is this character real?
No.
TV show?
No.
Movie?
Yes.
Animated?
No.
Live action?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure there wasn't some weird in between. Live action TV movie. Live action movie. Is your character a human?
No.
An animal?
Mm-hmm.
An animal.
Yes.
Okay, you just seemed a little bit unsure. Is it an alien?
No.
Okay, it's an animal.
Yes. It is an animal.
Does it talk?
No.
Is it a dog?
Mm-mm.
Cat?
Mm-mm.
A house pet?
Mm-mm.
Zoo animal?
Well, it's difficult.
Farm animal?
No.
Not a real animal. Is this a real animal?
Yes. Well. Yeah, but no.
Is it a dinosaur?
No.
A dragon?
That's a real animal.
A dragon?
No.
Well, but they're extinct. So I didn't know. Is it a unicorn?
Mm-mm. That's not a real animal.
Oh. You didn't... I asked if it was a real animal and you were like...
It's a real animal, but it's not, like, real.
Realistic?
Yeah?
But it's based off a real animal.
Yeah.
And it's live action and it's from a movie. Is it the main character?
No.
Is it scary?
Yeah, actually.
Is it supposed to be scary?
Maybe.
I don't think any of these questions are helping me.
Really? I thought you were almost there.
Have I seen this movie?
Yes.
Do I like this movie?
I believe so.
Is it a new movie?
No.
It's an old movie.
Mm.
Is it a black and white movie?
Sometimes.
Is it the lion from The Wizard of Oz?
Oh, that's a real animal.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's not.
Huh?
But it's not.
Yeah.
Because it's a human. But it's...
It's a live action movie. How old is it? You asked one question that wasn't yes or no. Let this be mine.
Fine. It's from the 30s.
But it's not the Wizard of... Is it from the Wizard of Oz?
Yes.
A monkey. The flying monkey?
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's real, not real animal.
Mm-hmm.
Now is time to get into my teaching bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you can probably very clearly tell, I chose The Wizard of Oz. Now, originally I was going to do Bonnie and Clyde, but clearly Aaron knows more about that than I do. I have some research here. Now, for some reason, I wrote this like it was an essay, so I'm going to have to translate it as I'm reading it, because I don't want to be like, speak like that, because that's weird to me. So, we are talking about The Wizard of Oz 1939. And this was definitely not the first adaptation of the movie. I mean, of the book. Sorry.
Oh.
This was not the first adaptation of the book. Books. There are 14 Oz books.
Wait. Like... all before this movie?
Mm-hmm.
There were 14 before this movie, not just like in all ever?
I believe so. Actually, I think they might have... Yes, there were 14 before this movie. Because when they were making the movie, the original writer was dead. I believe.
It's... How old is the first book?
I think. Oh, also let me preface. This is just my research, okay? That doesn't mean anything I'm saying is true. Just take everything with a grain of salt, or believe me entirely if you choose to. It's not going to hurt anything. So, the writer, whose name I did not write down, of The Wizard of Oz, wrote 14 books. And when he died, he passed the rights on to, like, his team of people.
Wait, are these Oz books a storyline?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was different variations of the
No,
same story.
It's a storyline that
that makes
it
way more
consists
sense.
of 14 books. But when he died, he passed the rights on to, his team of writers. But the books they wrote did not get nearly as popular. But that adds on to the 14. That's not included.
Okay.
Like, he wrote 14.
Yeah.
So, but before the 1939 movie, there was a play adaptation, which was the first, I believe, like, visual adaptation to the books.
Mm-hmm.
But it was not the first book. It was, like, one of the other ones.
Is the first book Dorothy?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, okay, the movie is not 100% true to the book. There are a lot of side quests that are not in the movie. That, like, also the Emerald City is not green in the book. It's just so bright that everyone that lives there goes there has to wear these green tinted glasses. So everything you look at is green because it's just way too bright.
Interesting.
Yeah. Also, the ruby slippers are silver. And after the trio gets their, like, heart and brain and courage, there's, like, another quest. Like, after the witch is dead, there's, like, another quest where the Scarecrow becomes king of Oz.
Interesting.
And then there's another book called, like, His Majesty the Scarecrow. And it's about, like, his reign. And also, as Dorothy is, like, going back home, she is, like, the 3 companions of her randomly have love interests that come in for no reason. Like, they were already in love, like, the whole time. And they're, like, they just, like, dance around while she's, like, going back home.
What?
I know. That's so weird, right? Anyway, MGM created this movie to compete with Snow White, which was before Snow White was a thing. Companies didn't think it was possible to make a fantasy film for all ages that adults could enjoy too. They were like, fantasy is for kids and kids only. And so we're not going to make a movie like that because kids don't have money.
Right.
So, but when Snow White proved them wrong, they were like, oh, let's try to make The Wizard of Oz again. There was so many failed attempts at making The Wizard of Oz a movie because it would just kept being really bad.
Was Judy Garland always Dorothy in all of those attempts?
No, they were by different studios and different people every time. Like, they would release the movie, and everyone was like, this movie sucks.
MGM's first attempt was the best.
Yes, this is
the actual one.
Yeah. Sorry. There was around 15 different writers who gave their own script. They wrote an entire script in varying levels of accuracy to the books. Some were more like the stage play, and some took out all the fantasy completely, which, how do you do that?
How?
Exactly.
I want to read those scripts now.
Yeah. And the what came out was, like, a Frankenstein of all their different individual scripts.
Yeah.
But only, like, 2 of them got credited.
Wow.
as being writers. Yeah.
That's awful.
Shirley Temple was originally considered for the role of Dorothy, but obviously they decided to go with Judy Garland. Even though most people thought she was ugly, and to quote the book titled The Making of The Wizard of Oz. Oh no, The Making of Oz, I think. She was an extraordinary voice unfortunately attached to a mediocre body and a badly flawed face.
Whoa. That's
Which
horrible.
is not true.
She's really like pretty.
I know.
In that movie.
Well, before the movie, all of her roles were the awkward, like, type. Awkward, ugly type. Like, she could sing, and, like, that's all people liked about her, basically. But, like, she was in other movies, but she was, like, almost like the little sister type, like the friend.
Yeah.
But The Wizard of Oz was her first time being, like, a pretty character.
Wow, that's crazy.
The original version of the original vision of the witch was for her to be attractive and, like, seductive, like the evil queen from Snow White at the beginning of the movie. They wanted her to look like that, and she almost did. Like, the girl who they originally cast, like, looked like...
Pretty?
Yeah. She looked like the evil queen. But...
That would have been very interesting.
Yeah. But later, like, way later in the production process, they decided to make her look ugly. They thought it would be more, true to the original story. Because she's written to be ugly. Oh. So, they, like, made, like, prosthetics and stuff for her. But she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to be made ugly for a movie. So they recast her with Margaret Hamilton. But before they officially started filming, they had to replace the director. Because he had other things to do, I guess.
What? You're like, I have to go do this other thing.
Yeah, like, he had other movies he was working on, and it was actually Gone with the Wind. He was waiting.
Oh, shoot.
He was waiting on Gone with the Wind to be, like, ready to film. Wait. I believe that's this one. One of them. Well, two. Hold on.
There's more than just one switch.
Yeah. The second director filmed 2 lengthy scenes that contained several things that did not make it into the final cut, including Dorothy having blonde hair.
I feel like I've seen a picture of that.
Baby doll-like makeup. Lots of makeup. Like, she was, like, done up. And a fairy tale princess personality. The director specifically told her to act like a fairy tale princess. Probably to combat Snow White.
Yeah.
And the witch had a really bad wig on, and she wasn't even green. Or, like, she might have been green, but she didn't have lots of makeup on, like, at all. At this point, after they filmed those 2 very long scenes, Buddy Ebsen, which is the original Tin Man, started having problems because of his makeup, which was made of tin dust that they just, like, powdered.
They use actual tin.
Right? They used tin dust, like, powdered onto his face. And because it took 2 hours to get into costume every day, he had, been breathing in these clouds of smoke clouds of tin for, like, 2 weeks, I think. No, a week. His lungs were completely coated in tin, so he couldn't breathe. So he went to the hospital for 6 weeks. But by the time he was recovered and fully good, they had already recast him. Yeah. Also,
oh my gosh, that's so,
lots of
so
people
mean.
say that he died, but he didn't die. He was actually the last, like, cast member to survive. Like, he outlived all the cast members.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, I, like, watched, like, a recording of him. He told the story of that happening in the recording that I was watching.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was kind of, like, weird to see that and hear that. It's interesting. But at least I knew it was true.
Yeah.
Because it was straight from the horse's mouth. Okay. Then, they also, with recasting the Tin Man, replaced the director again. So we are now to the third director.
Why'd they replace that one?
I don't remember. I didn't write it down. I think it had to do with the fact that the Tin Man was sick for some, because I think it had to do with that. Yeah, so this is the third director, and it's only been like a week of filming. But he changed the look of Dorothy, the witch, and the scarecrow to what it looks like today. Along with changing the Tin Man's makeup from tin flakes to aluminum paste. Now, this paste was better, but still not perfect, because the new Tin Man, Jack Haley, developed a serious eye infection that forced him to live in a dark room for a week to heal, because he couldn't see. But they didn't replace him this time. It was only 1 week instead of 6.
Yeah.
Before they could even start filming these new changes, the third director dropped out due to Gone with the Wind having its own production problems. This one.
That's the Gone with the Wind guy.
Yeah.
He was working on Gone with the Wind and Wizard of Oz at the same time?
Well, okay, so he was working on Gone with the Wind, but they weren't ready to film yet.
Oh.
So he came to the Wizard of Oz. He was like, I'll do this while I'm waiting for that to start filming. And then they started having their own production problems. So he was like, I have to go focus on this. And then film it.
Wow.
I know. The first scene to be filmed with the fourth director was Dorothy meeting the Scarecrow. While filming, the raven that was in that scene... Also, I didn't know that ravens and crows were, very similar. But, that is not a crow in that Scarecrow scene. It's a raven.
Interesting.
Because it was... I don't know if it's still... Well, it's not alive anymore, I'm sure. But it was the only trained raven in all of Hollywood.
Wow.
So
Famous
every
raven.
movie in that time that had a crow in it or a raven, it was that bird.
Wow. Famous.
Yes, I know. I think his name was Jimmy. I didn't write down his name for some reason, but he had a name, obviously. But that raven broke its invisible tether, and so it flew over 60 feet into the top of the soundstage. So it was up there, and but because it was the only raven they could use, they had to go get it.
Yeah.
They couldn't just get a new one. And so an assistant electrician had to climb 5 stories to get him down. But after 6 hours, he still wouldn't come down. They still couldn't get him.
Not a very well trained raven.
Yeah. I think he was just upset because just wait, I have more to say about probably why this raven was running away from this scene.
Oh, no.
From this stage.
I'm scared for the raven.
No, it's not the raven specifically. It's literally everybody that's ever on stage.
Okay.
So 6 hours later he was still up there, so everyone had to go home and stop filming.
Where's this raven's trainer? Why didn't he climb 5 stories?
And he finally came down at 2 a.m.
Wow.
I know. So, once they were able to get back to filming, they started with the Tin Man's introduction. His whole scene, his big elaborate dance number. Okay? It took 3 days. only to later discover that they were using the wrong Tin Man costume. They were using the one because the second director that only filmed 2 scenes filmed the last scene when he was already shiny and new. So they used that
the shiny and new one.
shiny and new costume, and they were like, guys, this thing that took 3 days to film, we have to redo it because he's supposed to be rusty here.
That sucks.
Yeah. And it's not like they could just like CGI it rusty.
Yeah.
That set back filming even more. Okay,
Mhm.
this movie is already way behind schedule,
Yeah.
like as you can imagine. So here's why my theory of why the Raven probably flew away for
Okay.
so long. The sets were so big.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's not it. That's the next sentence. But the sets were so big that instead of using the normal 1 camera, they used 9 cameras. They were huge. And because another reason why the sets were so big, they borrowed as many lights as they possibly could from rival studios. Like, they had tons of lights. So many that it caused multiple brownouts in the surrounding cities. A brownout is where your power weakens instead of going out. I looked that up because I was like, why? What's a brownout? So it's
Yeah.
like you can still use it, but like it's not very well.
Wow, so they used so much power that the cities were like...
Yes. And because the lights, there were so many lights, this stage was like 100 degrees. Not even kidding. And you can imagine how horrible that would be on multiple accounts for the actors and everyone in the room, because it's not like it's only the stage, heat's gonna travel. Dorothy's companions had it particularly rough. The Scarecrow's makeup was actually like a burlap sack that was like fitted to his face. So it was like plastered on so his skin couldn't breathe.
Oh my gosh.
And so he also couldn't sweat properly either.
Yeah.
So he was like, essentially his skin was suffocating,
Uh-huh.
He could still breathe, but he felt like it was difficult to breathe.
Yeah.
And also, so he couldn't sweat, so he couldn't like his body
Cool
couldn't
down.
regulate it properly. The lion was wearing real lion fur and skin that weighed upwards of 90 pounds. And it was like padded, like it was like a sauna, he was like inside the sun in there.
Ew,
They had to stop filming a few times to blow dry his fur and to cool him off because he was like, probably losing
why'd they use so
tons
many
of
lights?
pounds. Because the stage was so big. Also because of Technicolor took extra light. It had to be like
Oh.
bright. And the Tin Man couldn't sit or lay down.
Mm.
So he was leaning against a board when he wasn't filming and would pass out, would go to sleep because he was so exhausted.
Hmm.
And it's so hot.
Wow. Troopers.
So that's probably why the crow ran away.
Left.
And the only way to fix this heat problem was to stop everything and open the big stage doors and let it air out for a little bit. And
In Hollywood.
yeah. So it's still hot there. But they
Depending
would
on when they were filming, I guess.
True. But then as soon as they closed the door, I'd get right back to it,
Mhm.
So that's crazy.
Yeah, that sounds-
And several actors would just pass out and need to get carried off the stage throughout the whole course of filming. And I was thinking about that today when I'm wearing a sweater in the heat of summer. I was
Mhm.
like, how fitting.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yes, that is horrible. And while this is happening, I'm not going to get too deep into this because this is kind of a subplot.
Okay.
But Judy Garland was also on her diet quote unquote,
Mm.
of chicken soup, black coffee, and lots of cigarettes. And pills to keep her awake and pills to help her fall asleep. And some people say that it was the producer that gave her the pills, but her mother, like, approved it.
Mhm.
And others say that her mother gave it to her. Also, it's worth noting that in a later interview, Judy Garland's daughter
Mhm.
said that Judy Garland would often lie in interviews just because she could. So, a lot of things that she told about the story in interviews were not true.
That's so silly of her.
Yeah, I know. But her daughter said that they would just do that all the time. Like, that her mom was really good at that. And she could just make any story a little extra just because she wanted to.
That's so silly.
Which, technically, she could be lying. But,
She could just be stretching the...
Yeah. But
Sure.
I'm not saying that, like, the diet and stuff is a lie.
Mhm.
But she said that the director or producer gave it to her.
Right.
But her friend, in an interview, said that that never happened. And
The
unfortunately,
diet never happened?
no, that the director didn't give it to her.
Oh.
And quote, unfortunately, she chose that path for herself.
Mm.
I don't know. But everyone was apparently like, how is she staying so, like, active all the time? But it's because she was, like, taking drugs
Yeah.
to, like, keep herself awake.
Mhm.
And then she couldn't fall asleep at night
Because
because
of
of
the
the drugs. So
drugs.
she took different drugs to fall asleep. And she said at one point that it's like she can't even do either without them. Like, she can't fall asleep or wake up without the pills now. So that's also going on at this time. On another note, the scene where the Wicked Witch disappears behind a cloud of smoke and fire. Behind the scenes, Margaret Hamilton was supposed to drop down through a trapdoor. That was, like, just bigger than her. And she was told that if she didn't keep all her arms and legs in that mark, that that they could get caught and broken.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That didn't happen. Something else did. On the fourth take, the fire went off too early, resulting in a 2nd-degree burn on her face and a 3rd-degree burn on her hand.
Her face?
Yes.
That sucks.
She said that she didn't feel the pain right away, so when people were rushing to go help her, she was, like, really confused. But then she looked down and, like, the skin on her hand was gone.
Gone. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And she's wearing, like, green makeup, so it's, like,
Yeah.
getting in...
Not to mention toxic green makeup.
Oh, yeah, I heard that, too.
And they used... I didn't write that in this, but I wrote it in my first... I was taking all these notes on paper. And then I was, like... And then while I was watching a second video about it, I was, like, retyping it as it mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
And as I remembered it. So,
Yeah.
from my other notes. But, yes, she did
They
have...
need to get a better makeup team.
Yeah. So they cleaned off her wounds with alcohol.
Okay. Why? They thought it was like, oh, this is clean stuff.
No idea. That's wild.
That's so... Who is in charge here?
Mhm.
They should change the director again.
Yeah, they do.
Oh my gosh.
She was in the hospital for 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh. And they didn't replace her?
No. But because actually they called her to, like, see when she was going to come back to filming, like,
Wow.
the next day or something.
Okay.
And her doctor was like, she's not going back until I say she is. And you guys and if she has any mind, she's gonna sue you guys. And so they were
Did
like,
she?
no, because apparently she knew that if she sued them, she would like never work again, you know, because they're like a
Hollywood.
big company. Also, she has a 3-year-old son at this point, I guess, and she doesn't, and like she has to keep it work.
Yeah. Imagine being like in Hollywood and they're like, don't work with her. She sues people when they burn her.
Yeah. Anyway, unfortunately, the Wicked Witch could not run away from fire because later, when filming a scene where the witch flies on her broom, and writes like something in the sky,
Mm-hmm.
there's a pipe underneath her broom. In one
That was
scene.
real? Her?
No. No. In like the scene where she's like about to take off, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Through the window, I think. There's a pipe under her.
Okay.
And she was wearing a fireproof dress. Like costume. And she was like, "Hey guys, why is my costume fireproof?"
Oh my gosh.
And they were like, "'Cause that pipe under your seat could explode." And she was like, "I'm not doing this."
Period.
She-
Why would they not tell her that?
Don't know. She literally refused to do that scene because she was like, "I have a 3-year-old kid. I'm
No.
not
About to die.
Yeah, I'm not doing any more of my own stunts."
Yeah.
Because she did have a stunt double named
For what reason, I guess?
Betty Danko. What?
Betty Dinko.
Anyway, so her stunt double, Betty Danko, did it instead. And then
Did Betty Dinko die?
she did not die. However, the pipe did explode
Of course.
while she was hanging on it,
Mm.
I guess. So she, like, it blew her off.
Mm.
And her hat, she said it felt like her scalp was getting ripped off.
Oh
Because,
my-
like, her hat, like, flew off, I
Yeah.
guess. And maybe it was, like, attached. I don't know. But she, like, blew off of it. And she, like, onto the ground from the broom. And she had a 2-inch deep wound on her leg. Because it, like, you know, exploded her leg.
Oh my gosh.
And so she was in the hospital. And that scene didn't even make it into the film.
That's so stupid.
I literally know. I know.
That, like, infuriates me.
I know. Like, she got, like, way badly hurt, and she didn't even, like, not
Imagine
even-
she's, like, in the hospital and she's like, oh, here's my scene.
She's like,
It's like,
guys.
no, my scene was supposed to be right in between that clip.
Yeah. That's, like, so bad. And while she was in the hospital, she learned that 2 of the flying monkeys were also there because their wires broke and they fell.
Wow.
Most people think that the snow in that one scene is asbestos, but other people think it's white gypsum, but neither are good.
Oh.
So they're both like toxic things that were very popular in the 30s to use before it was like widely known as bad. So, but even if it wasn't asbestos, asbestos was still used in other parts of the film, like to prevent fires, because apparently it's like fireproof.
Oh. Okay.
Actually, fun fact, in the 30s, like it was people were selling like asbestos drywall so that their house would be fireproof, but also give them lung cancer
Oh, right.
because they didn't know.
Yeah.
So, but because it was like fireproof, that scene where the scarecrow's sleeve catches on fire,
Uh-huh.
his sleeve was coated in it, in asbestos,
Okay.
and the witch's broom seat was coated in it in case the pipe exploded, which it did.
Mm-hmm.
Other toxic parts is the window, the breakaway window that the lion jumps through.
Mm-hmm.
Was created by pouring resin into a pool of mercury. which is a super toxic,
Oh my gosh.
like, metal, I think. Okay, you know how, like, you know those, like, thermometers that you would, like, put on your wall and it's
Yeah.
like that? That's got mercury in it,
Okay.
but you're not supposed to. That's why you, like, don't break it.
Don't break the thermometer.
Yeah. But I guess it's the only way to tell temperature, I guess. But
yeah.
don't break the thermometer because mercury is, like, super toxic. And so they literally poured it into a pool of it with no ventilation, like the prop people when they're making it.
Well, that's their own fault.
No, that's probably, I don't know if that's, they chose that.
I'm sure the head of props did.
True. But, like, the other people. Anyway, that's still not good. So, the fourth director is now getting replaced because he also went to go work on Gone with the Wind.
Why did there need 2 directors? Because it's 4 hours long?
No, because I'm pretty sure Gone with the Wind had to replace the other director because the main, like, one of the actors is, like, homophobic, and I guess that director was gay.
Openly?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And so they had to replace him
That's sad.
because he, like, refused to do it. Okay. So now they're on their 5th director. And he filmed all the black and white scenes.
Okay.
So now filming is done. Okay?
They did all the black and white scenes after everything else?
Yes, I guess. Because then they could send all the lights away and just use, like, regular lights.
Yeah.
Now that everybody's not in their hot clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So now it is, oh my gosh, can you please go get me, like, ibuprofen and some water? I've been
Whoa.
sitting here suffering for a while.
Suffering for what?
I have a bad headache.
Oh.
Like, a really bad one. It's got worse.
Just now?
Yeah. I should put cute stickers on my laptop. Don't worry, folks. We're almost done. Okay. So, also, this could be fake news because of the first video I watched said this and the second video didn't. And the second video seemed more thorough. But I'm going to say anyway. I can't remember if it was the last director or the second to last director. But one of the scenes, Dorothy couldn't stop laughing at something that the lion was doing. And so the director literally slapped her to get her to, like, focus.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they switched him out. I have no idea. But that might not be true. So in post-production, a lot of scenes were cut, resulting in continuity errors. So in the scene where they're, like, I think they're, like, gonna go capture the witch or something, and the lion has, like, a big, like, butterfly net and a can of, like, witch repellent or something like that.
Yeah.
So those are supposed to, like, get taken out of his hand, like, by magic. But that scene where that happened was cut. So then in the next clip, he just doesn't have them.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I mean, like, this is common even in today, where, like, someone will be in one position and then in the next they're, like, in a totally different position. But that's because they cut out a piece of, like, dialogue instead of because, like, they stopped the cameras.
Yeah.
Also, at the beginning, whenever, like, the real versions of the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion are, like, talking to Dorothy, they all have, like, foreshadows to what their characters. Like, except for the Tin Man doesn't. But that's because they cut it out.
Okay.
But he also references his foreshadow. Like, lots of people reference it because they forgot to take out those parts too. Because it's not like they cut it from the script. They just cut it from the tape.
Yeah.
So they couldn't take out her saying, I saw you with that machine in there, you know. But it's like, what machine? What are you talking about? Because he's saying, like, he's trying to get his wind machine to work. And he's like, it just lacks heart. That's like his line
Mhm.
about it, but they took that out. But he's like still has the wind machine and like all that.
Just for fun.
Yeah. My guess is accidental because they're just like splicing. They're just cutting an actual roll of film. So.
Oh, really?
Mhm. Like it's a real roll of film, and they're like, let's cut it here, and then like connect it back.
Shoot.
Yeah, I know, right? Like weird.
I never
But like,
thought of that.
yeah. So that's why it's called like cut it out, because they're like literally cutting it out.
Mhm.
And so scenes were like literally on the cutting room floor.
Whoa. That's cool to think about.
Yeah. So the song "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" was cut from the movie. Like they cut it out. It was gone. When they like premiered it to
Yeah.
people, like specific people, critics, or I don't know if it was critics, but people were like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would she be singing in a barnyard? That doesn't make any sense. It's just slow and boring and bad. Cut it out. But then the composers of the song, I think, fought so hard to get it to stay. And eventually they won, of course, and they just glued it back in the movie. But
Glued it back.
that song, she sings it with so much heart because she can like relate to it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that song has become such a staple in her career. She sang it so many times.
Yeah.
And so imagine if that song never existed. That's wild. There's also another song called "The Jitterbug" that was cut from the movie.
That's in the musical.
Mm.
I was the jitterbug.
Okay, yeah.
In our production.
Well, they cut it because because it broke up the tension that they were building.
Oh, okay.
And so they were like, we don't really need it.
Mm-hmm.
And also because also a popular dance move at the time was called the Jitterbug, and they didn't want to date the film. So they were just like, get it out of here. The film was not as widely loved as it is now until it eventually broadcasted to TVs in people's homes. Because at the point of its release, home television wasn't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You could only see movies in the theater for as long as they were running. And once it stopped showing in the theater,
It's never seen again.
it was basically never seen again because they didn't really do rewatches, you know? And so lots of people came to see it, but it was mostly the children's tickets, which were cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
So it did not nearly make its money back. It went like $1 million over budget, which is crazy, especially if you can like consider like inflation now. That would be so much money.
Yeah.
So apparently movie production companies didn't believe in home television. They did not understand why they should show their movie on there for free. So they just didn't. But when it started becoming more popular, they decided to test it with their flop of a movie, The Wizard of Oz.
Not their flop.
I know, right? And so people loved it, you know, because a whole new generation of kids got to see it for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was, you know, if they never broadcast it on television, it would have just faded into history. Only to be seen by the few people who saw it in theaters when it came out. Now, even though the film has been released, there's still more to the story.
Okay.
Because about 20 minutes of footage was cut from the movie. Like, after it was, you know, in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was cut. And it will probably never be seen again. Because there are several instances where it could have and probably was destroyed. Instance number 1, it could have just been immediately thrown in the trash after they cut it out.
Mm-hmm.
But they did still keep records, you know. So they could have been keeping it in one of their vaults. And the vault that it was said to have been kept in burnt down in 1965.
Of course.
Yeah.
By Margaret Hamilton.
She was like, revenge.
Yeah. She was like, bitches. They can't catch me.
Yeah. But if it still somehow managed to survive that fire, in the 1970s, MGM decided to dump most of their film in the ocean.
Why? Okay, MGM needs to be shut down.
They dumped most of their film into the ocean, along with many sets and props and matte paintings.
That's horrible.
I know, right?
Not even just like for
Like,
keepsake, but also just for the environment.
yeah, like they just like boated it out there and then sank it.
Sink the boat?
I don't think they
Okay.
sank the boat.
I was like, they literally need to be shut down.
Yeah.
We need to go storm their building and burn it to the ground with Margaret Hamilton's ashes. Guess she's dead.
That was wild. But what wasn't dumped was sold at an auction, like the ruby slippers. But there were definitely several pairs of the ruby slippers.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the pairs was found, I guess, wrapped up in a towel in very poor condition. So they like restored them, and now they're in the museum of movie stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
I want to go to that museum.
Yeah, the museum of movie stuff.
Yeah.
Also, they literally found one of the like a matte painting of the Emerald City, just like in a dumpster.
Like the thing they use as the backdrop. Or
I don't know what
just
matte.
a painting of what it could look like.
I don't know what a matte
Like the
painting is.
Prop people were like, oh,
Here.
maybe this is what it is. Or the actual set of the Emerald City was just in a trash can.
Matte painting. Okay, I have no internet here. Let me look it up on my phone. Painted representation of a landscape, set, or distant location that allows filmmakers to create the illusion. Now I'm confused.
So yeah,
it's the distant. It's like the distant version.
Yeah,
so like
so
it's
the Emerald City
But-
is just in a trash can.
but like a really small version, like for close up, like to be close to the camera while it's like supposed to be far away. You know? Like where you don't see the people on it. It's just like that's what it looks like far away. It was literally in a dumpster, and a film historian found it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Also, it's worth mentioning that the Munchkins were rumored to be like these wild party people who had orgies all the time and were always drunk. That's not even true.
Just because they're discriminatory, they made those rumors?
Yeah, Judy Garland started one of them.
Judy. She needs to be shut down with MGM.
She started the rumor of them always being drunk on set. And while I'm sure a few of them did drink because there was a lot of them, and they are adults,
Yeah.
but none of them on record came to work drunk. You know, they were very professional. And according to my research, they actually really liked filming the movie because
They got
For-
representation.
for many of them, this was the first time they saw other people like them.
Yeah.
So they, had a lot of fun on
I
set.
bet.
Also, I have to talk about this because people think it's true, but trigger warning, that scene where people think there's a hanging munchkin,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, why would they put that in the movie?
Yeah.
Why would they video that? And even if they did video that, why wouldn't they not redo that part?
Mm-hmm.
It's a crane.
A
Like
bird.
a big bird. It's flapping its wings. Like, it's just there. And there are behind-the-scenes photos of, like, the director with the bird. Like, the bird is, like, on set.
A real bird?
Yeah.
Why would did they put that in there? There.
But it makes a lot more sense than the popular theory.
Debunking.
Yeah. So, that's wild.
Wow. Good job.
Thank you.
That was really good.
So, overall, the movie had 5 directors.
Yeah, that's crazy. And lots of injuries and toxic things.
Yes, many, many, many. Shoot, I forgot one part of when Betty got knocked off the broom. The first thing that the costume designer said was, "Where's your hat? What'd you do with the hat?" And she's on the ground with like a missing a big chunk of her leg. And she's like, "Where'd you put the hat?"
That's awful. Everyone needs to be fired. They're all dead, so.
Yeah.
I want to read the book. When did the book come out?
I didn't look. Probably like 1812.
You get an F
No.
on your paper.
When?
Did you just say 1812?
Yeah. It was published in 1900.
I think that is it then.
That concludes
The 1930s. Thank you all so much for watching or listening or whatever you're doing. Please stay tuned for next week's episode. That's going to be fun, and it's going to hate it because it's something she hates. That's a little teaser warning. So yeah, we will see you all next time. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
Thank you all. Your love has broken the curse and freed my soul.
What, you go turn it all off while I'm doing this. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.